Welcome to The Explainer. Have you ever really thought about it? How does that one choice you make in a voting booth actually become a rule that everyone in the country has to live by? Well, today, that's exactly what we're breaking down. We're going to follow the incredible journey of the UK political system, from a single vote all the way to a national law.
It's a journey with a ton of twists and turns for sure. So to really get our heads around it, we've got to start right at the beginning, with the fundamental rules that shape everything else.
So before we can even talk about elections or politicians, we need to understand the blueprint for how the country is actually run. And in the United Kingdom, that all starts with its very unique constitution.
Okay, so this is where the UK system is a little bit different. Unlike most countries that have one big formal document called the Constitution, the UK's is uncodified. It's not a single rule book. Think of it more like a collection of different rules built up over hundreds and hundreds of years, from major laws, big court decisions, and even just long-standing traditions.
Now, this flexibility is a really big deal, especially when you compare it to a system like the one in the USA. Their constitution is codified, it's one single document, and it's pretty hard to change. The UK's version, on the other hand, can adapt and evolve much more easily over time. You can almost say it's like a living, breathing set of rules.
So what holds this whole flexible system together? Well, it's a core principle called parliamentary sovereignty, and this is key. It's the idea that Parliament has the ultimate supreme authority. It can make or get rid of any law it wants, and no one else, not even the courts, can overrule what it decides.
All right, so we've got the ground rules sorted. Now, it's time to choose the actual players who are going to make the laws. And this, well, this is where you, the voter, come into the picture.
At least once every 5 years, the whole country goes to the polls for a general election. The UK is split up into 650 local areas. We call them constituencies, and in each one, voters choose just one person to be their Member of Parliament, or MP.
Now, the voting system that UK uses is called first past the post, and honestly, it's a pretty straightforward winner-takes-all race. In each of those 650 contests, the candidate who gets the most votes, even if it's just one more vote than the person in second place, wins the seat. Simple as that.
So, the election's over. We've just watched 650 local races turn individual votes into a brand new group of members of Parliament. Now they all pack their bags and head to one place, the very center of national power.
And here we are, the Palace of Westminster in London. This iconic building isn't just for postcards. It's home to the UK Parliament, and it's basically the workshop where all the country's laws get debated, pulled apart, and finally made.
You know, Parliament isn't just one single big room. It's what we call bicameral, which is a fancy way of saying it has two separate chambers, or houses. You've got the elected House of Commons, and then you have the appointed House of Lords, and each one has a very different job to do.
Right, so here's the crucial point. The House of Commons is the democratic part. It's made up of those 650 MPs that we just elected. They have the real power. The House of Lords, on the other hand, is more of a checking chamber. Its members are appointed for their expertise, but because they're unelected, they're always a topic of debate. Their main job is to check and suggest improvements to laws, but, and this is important, they can't ultimately block the will of the elected Commons.
So, what's the grand prize for winning the election? Well, the political party that wins the most seats in the House of Commons gets to form the government. The leader of that party becomes the Prime Minister, and they get to pick other senior MPs to become ministers and run all the major government departments.
Okay, so we've got our rules, we've picked our MPs, and a government is in place. Now for the main event, the climax of our story. How does an idea, maybe a promise made on the campaign trail, get forged into an actual law that affects every single person in the country?
Every single law starts its life as just a proposal, and that proposal is called a bill. It's basically a draft of the new law. But for it to become official, it has to survive a really long and tough journey through Parliament.
And believe me, this journey is a marathon, not a sprint. A bill gets introduced, then its main ideas are debated, and then it's pulled apart, literally line by line, in what's called a committee stage. After even more debate and a final vote, it has to pass through that whole process in the House of Commons, and then it has to do it all over again in the House of Lords. Only if it survives both houses does it get to the final step, royal assent. That's the monarch's formal approval that officially turns the bill into an act of Parliament, a real, binding law.
All of that debating, all that changing and voting, that's the real engine room of democracy.
The whole process is designed to be difficult, to make sure that new laws are properly tested and checked out before they start affecting millions of people's lives. This whole journey is the ultimate outcome of the entire system.
And there you have it. The journey is complete. From that one vote you cast to help choose a local MP, to that MP's party forming a government, to that government introducing a bill that somehow survives the parliamentary marathon, that is how a choice made in a voting booth becomes the law of the land.
It's a system built on centuries of tradition and change. Power flows from the people. It gets focused in parliament, and then it's turned into law. But as we've seen, that journey is almost never a simple, straight line. It's a complex, fascinating, and absolutely vital process. And understanding its path is really the key to understanding the country itself.